Do you like jazz music? Do you have a favorite jazz musician? And what are the prospects for jazz music to take roots in Taiwan? We're going to find out on today's program as we have a conversation with Ms. Hsu Yu-Ying, who's currently a jazz pianist in Taiwan. Welcome to our program, Ms. Hsu.
Hi, Dr. Wu. Hello, everyone. My name is Yu-Ying, and I'm a jazz pianist. And I've studied in New York, and now recently I relocated back in Taiwan.
Okay, good. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Good. Pleasure to have you on the program today. And why don't we start off the program by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, I understand that you were born and grew up in Taiwan.
Yes.
And you went to the National Taiwan University.
Yes.
But how did you end up being a jazz pianist? Tell us about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, my music background, when I was in elementary school, I was in this special classical music program.
Good.
Class.
All right.
And 东华国小音乐班.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then after that, I didn't really continue music.
All right.
In middle school, high school. High school, I was in the dancing club.
Okay,
hip-hop
all right.
dance. So anyways, so in the university, my major was library and information science.
Yes.
But somehow my friend took me to see some jazz live shows in Taipei, Shida Road. There's a club called Blue Note.
All right.
So there I saw this amazing jazz band, and immediately I fell in love with jazz.
With the music.
Yeah, because I couldn't understand why everyone was so happy on stage. Everyone was smiling at each other and playing music for 5 or 6 minutes, but with just one sheet music, one page.
Right.
So I couldn't understand. I didn't even know what is improvisation, like what is it? So I realized, oh, I still remember how to play piano. So what about I learn, experience new music style?
All right.
What about I continue my music again?
All right. And let me ask you this. What kinds of music that you were exposed to when you were younger? You know, you went to the special, gifted musical class at Dunhua.
Yes.
So I suppose you were exposed to classical music when you were little.
Yeah.
Please.
So when I was little, I didn't know much because I was just a little girl and I didn't compare to anyone else because my world is just music and my classmates.
All right.
So for me, it was normal. Like every day we went to school and then we started with morning practice, 1 hour, 2 hours. And then all the classes in that program was classical music related.
Yes.
So, we had this symphony orchestra, school symphony orchestra we played, and then of course I learned private piano lessons, and I play viola and stuff. So when I was in elementary school, it was mainly classical music. I listened to, Beethoven, Mozart, Chopin, and everyone.
All right.
So
when you were first exposed to jazz music was when, the time when your friend took you to that jazz club in Shida Road. All right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what was your first reaction to jazz music other than you liked it? Did you think it was comparable to classical training that you received, or was it something that brand new that you wanted to explore and experience?
Yeah, it was brand new for me. I mean, the kind of playing, like, because jazz music, the most important thing is swinging. Yeah. Like it's different groove, different accent, I would say, in this music language than classical, very different. But of course I didn't understand, but I could feel the happiness, the joy, and the rhythm. The energy, the rhythm in this music. So, and then I hear this harmony, like very different from what I was normally exposed to classical music, like more complex, and then I learned some great jazz masters like Bill Evans and those people. So I studied their harmony. So it was really different, back in high school, I was really in love with, actually my favorite singer was Alanis Morissette. And so it's totally different from classical or jazz. So I was listening to that, I was dancing hip-hop, but then I immediately, when I first heard jazz, I immediately just
fell in love with it.
Yes.
All right. And let me ask you, you are a jazz pianist in Taiwan and also study and perform all over the world. But what is jazz music to you now? What is the essence of jazz music? Does it represent, a style, a lifestyle, a spirit, or is it something of a pursuit of a person's own self-being? What is it to you?
Well, for me, I think the essence of jazz, when it started a long time ago in America, I think it has always been the freedom.
Okay.
That you can express yourself freely in this music, because a big part of this music is about improvisation.
Okay.
So you can create kind of your musical kingdom in this, I don't know, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, or however long you want. You are the king, you are the queen.
Okay. And how do you think your exposure and subsequent understanding of jazz music has changed your perception of what music is? How has that changed your music composition?
Yeah. So when I first went to New York, I started from learning from the very basic. So the more I learned to appreciate more like what Charlie Parker or Dizzy Gillespie, Bob Powell, what they went to experience back in the 40s, like the bebop and
of course.
Later on hard bop or jazz in the 60s.
Okay.
So little by little, I started to compose. I didn't compose when I was in Taiwan. I started in New York after study for 1 or 2 years. Well, it started like as a school assignment, but more and more, I found out it's really fun to put your music ideas, lines, and then I want this chord. So I put it on the paper, and everyone has to play it because I wrote it. So it's really fun. And so the more vocabulary I learned from jazz, I would say, of course, helped me more. I can have more colors in my own music. It's like painting.
Yes,
like now I have 3 colors: red, blue, green. But now maybe I have purple, pink, or something in between the 2 reds. So I have more and more details.
Good. And we mentioned that you had a very good academic career in Taiwan. You went to National Taiwan University and you study library and information sciences. That's where you got your bachelor degree from. And subsequently, you went to New York to study, and you got your music degree from Purchase College, State University of New York.
Yes.
And let me ask you, this is quite a switch. From studying library information sciences on one hand to study music on the other hand. And how and where did you get that courage to make that switch?
Yeah, actually, well, it's kind of, I didn't really think too much. Everything, I mean, I kind of have a plan, but not really. Like, I'm not like some of my friends. They really think, okay, after this, I want to do that and this and one after another. So I was in the Library and Information Science department. Of course, I could get through with my exams, and I could handle that. And still, I have some free time. College students, of course, we have tons of free time. So I exposed to music, and I found myself like more, could be more free and express myself. I realized my personality is, I can't really stick to one like rule, because in library and information science, you have to learn like how to put the book, give the number, and put in this specific place in the bookshelf. So this, that. So maybe I'm not the best person for that.
All right.
Yeah, maybe I'm more creative and...
Of course, freedom-loving, shall we say?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And why did you decide to study abroad? You could have studied music in Taiwan. Especially at that time, I would suppose you were still searching to what type of music you really want to pursue. Jazz, of course, was an option, but you were trained in classical music. So you could have gone back to classical music. But you made a very courageous decision, again, to go overseas to the United States to study. And where did you get that motivation?
Okay, because I kind of stopped classical for a long time, maybe more than 10 years. So it was kind of impossible to go back, because, in classical music, you have to really practice your skills.
Constantly.
Like every day, 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours. And then I was exposed to jazz.
And you were, interested in what jazz music could offer you, right? So that's why you made the decision to pursue jazz music when you were studying abroad, right? And let me ask you, what was the reaction from your parents, from your friends?
Okay.
Were they supportive?
I was lucky. Later on, my parents supported me.
Okay.
Otherwise, I could never
go abroad,
survive in New York because it's a really expensive city.
Of course.
In the beginning, of course, they thought I was mad because who would do music again if you stopped for more than 10 years? So little by little, I showed them like, you know, I passed the audition, I could get in. So that means I'm on the same level as other students coming from all over the world.
All right.
So that maybe I could still have a chance.
All right. Well, it certainly turned out to be a very good decision now looking back on it. Yes. And Ms. Hsu, let me ask you this. We understand that, you know, you went to study in the States, in New York. Certainly that's, you know, to some people at least, that's the music capital of the world. You have a lot of, you know, talented musicians, and you have all diverse choices of music. Why did you decide to move back to Taiwan some 6 years ago and launch your music career?
So, as I mentioned before, I don't really have a plan too much in my life. But little by little, I think I'm still on the right track.
Good.
So after 4.5 years in New York, studying, and I didn't really come back to Taiwan at all during this period. So I was really curious how Taiwan is.
How Taiwan is different.
Yeah, because after 4.5 years, how's my friends, how's my family, and it feels so fresh.
Yes.
It was kind of like when I was going to New York.
Was that a deliberate decision not to come back to Taiwan during that 4.5 years?
It's kind of because I want to spend as much time as possible in New York to explore jazz, of course.
Very good.
And and also I try not to take too much airplanes. I don't know.
Okay.
Personal.
Okay.
And then I also was curious, like how other friends who also went study jazz other places. Like my friends, they went to Belgium, Holland, like Europe.
Yes.
Like how they're doing. Are they back to Taiwan or I want to see how's everyone's develop or growing in this jazz music. So I moved back to Taiwan. It was, I didn't really think it was Christmas Eve, and I was just thinking, oh, maybe it's time.
All right, and looking back on it, I know you traveled quite a bit, but looking back on it 6 years later, do you regret that decision to come back to Taiwan, or were you happy? Are you happy that you made that decision?
Yeah, that's interesting about life. You can't really regret. You can just kind of go on, and there's...
Your life is moving too fast. You have no moments, no time for regrets.
Yeah, I thought, it wouldn't be wise to regret, because you just change direction if really you want to change something. That's how I feel. Of course, it's difficult to do, but I try to tell myself that. So looking back, I would say it's quite very interesting and very important time period of my life, because it's really, I'm not a student anymore. It's really different. Of course, I wouldn't know when I was a student. So now I'm still doing music, but I didn't do it for school, or it's kind of my work. I have to really do it, otherwise, you know, I have to make a living or everything. So then I met some people, like this person direct to another person could lead to travel tour in abroad, or can introduce me to play in the festivals, or some teaching gigs. So I met some friends during these 6 years, and
networking a little bit.
Networking, and then I started to teach in university, which I never thought I would do that, because when I was a student, I was doing okay, but I would never imagine I go on that stage like as a lecturer and then talk to students every week.
But things happen. Yes.
Things happen, But still, I play. Because my passion still is playing live.
Of course,
performance. And performance. So I try not to stop that. So now it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy.
A lot of people look at your resume and looking back the last 6 years as you launch your music career in Taiwan. a lot of people were very impressed. You have won many awards and recognition. For example, in 2011, when you first launched your first album, Untitled, that you won the Golden Indie Award, for the best jazz album. And thereafter, you won many things, including this year, 2016. Tell us a little bit about your music career so far, and what do all these awards and recognitions meant to you?
Okay, that's very good question. Let me think. Okay, so now looking back, of course, I would say, of course, when I was recording or releasing the album, there's no way I would imagine or I could know, oh, I will get this award or that. So it was definitely not for that when I started.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so now looking back, I would say, as long as I do everything right, as long as I take care of my music, so the rest kind of will take care of itself. It is really interesting. So I recorded my first album, Untitled. It's a jazz piano trio album. I recorded back in New York before I came back to Taiwan.
All right.
So I recorded there, half in Taiwan, and released in Taiwan. First year I was back. And I was so happy. Like, I thought I was the luckiest person in the world. Like, right the next year, then I got nominated, and then I got the award. So I was thinking like, oh, wow, doing music, I could go to the ceremony and get it. It's kind of interesting, like, oh, and I could get, pretty and makeup and like, okay, that's cool. Yes. So of course I was happy, and then I guess my family, they were happy. Also shows them there's a way out,
Yes,
it's like being an artist, it's not always about suffering.
No.
You could still do well, kind of.
Okay.
So, and then I was encouraged, and of course I continued with my second album.
Yes.
I recorded, and then was
also
got the award or nominated Golden Melody Award. So, and then again I won. So I thought, okay, thanks for giving me this. Really,
your music. Yes.
Thanks for liking my music, and I will try to do my best again and again.
All right. And Ms. Hsu, were there ever moments of doubts or moments of difficulties or frustrations that you felt behind all the attention and the glamour? For outsiders like us, maybe we look at, all the different awards that you have won, and you're able to come back to Taiwan and release 2 or 3 albums in about 5-6 years. Well, we're very impressed. Certainly people like your music, appreciate your music, but were there ever moments of, frustration, difficulty that we don't see?
Yeah.
Behind behind all the glamour, all the public attention.
Yes, of course. I think constantly, I feel like, but mainly from myself, I would say. I figured most of the pressures or coming from me, because I'm kind of the high standard kind of type of
perfectionist. Yes.
I tried. I want my music to be up to my standard.
All right.
Hopefully. So I was frustrated, of course, if I couldn't play the way I imagined,
wanted to, yes.
or I couldn't compose the color I imagined, but mainly from myself.
All right.
And still I feel that sometimes. But from outside, like my friends or family, I think they just support me a lot.
Good. And you're now better recognized as a jazz, musician in Taiwan. What would be the goals that you have set for yourself that you would like to accomplish through your music? For example, would you like to, through your music, popularize jazz music in Taiwan? Or would you want to, use jazz as a platform to reach out to people? What are some of your goals as a musician? Please.
Well, I think being a musician is a never-ending process.
Okay.
So I don't know if I could ever really achieve my goal.
Okay.
My goal is to I just share my experience in life, in music, because that's my way. If I'm a writer or and then I'll write a book.
A painter,
or a painter, I will paint. So hopefully I will just constantly continue to share my life experience with in music with everyone.
Good.
Just like I was inspired by reading books, like
novels and things.
Novels. Like I like Haruki Murakami, and I like Allan Poe and Camus, those. Yeah. So somehow I got inspired from them, and then their ideas is somehow in my music, but in a way only I know it.
All right.
And I would feel like once I finished recording or playing or compose, then the rest is you take care of it. The listeners take care of it.
Okay.
You can like it, you don't like it, it's your choice.
All right. Let me ask you, when people listen to your music, what would be the preferred, quote unquote, preferred reaction that you would expect from your audience? Do you like them to just fall in love with your music? Or do you like them to say, oh, I like it, this part, but I think the others could be a little better? Do you want them to be cheerful after listening to your music? Wow. What would be the reaction that you would like to see?
Yeah, I would like to them to feel
happy?
Happy or not happy.
Okay.
All good.
All right.
As long as you feel something.
Okay.
I think if you're not happy with this, maybe it tells you something. Right. That's how I feel. Because when I look at, like, for example, Francis Bacon's painting, because I was inspired by his painting, I composed a song. So when I was looking at just some of his paintings, I really was feeling like, what is this? Okay. But then what is this? That I didn't like it, but somehow that's just never, it was somehow it was a huge impact.
Yes.
And then turned to a song I wrote. So I would never. So maybe some other stuff I like, but that will never turn into my music.
Okay.
So so if my music, if you hear my music, you don't like it, then it's good.
All right.
I think it's even better.
All right.
Then you can think, why I don't like it? Why don't I like it? What do I miss?
So essentially, you want people to have a reaction to your music when they listen to it.
Yes.
I'm sure they do. All right. Ms. Hsu, we were talking about your music and how it has, made an impact in many people's lives. And let me ask you about your musical style. Okay. And you choose the approach of improvisation. Why did you choose improvisation over other forms of musical style? Please.
Okay, so the improvisation is mainly from my second album. Okay. Because half of the tracks piano is recorded live, improv in a room. Yes. With piano
Wouldn't that be a little risky as a performer? I mean. Yeah. Well, I chose improvisation. You like the challenge.
Yeah, I definitely love the challenge, and I chose it because it's kind of this no regret attitude.
Good.
It's like
you cannot do over.
Yeah, you just put yourself out there. If you don't like this take, then you do another one, but a new one, because it will never be the same.
Okay.
So during my jazz study in New York, so I learned how to improv. But mainly in jazz music, the traditional way is you have a song, and then you play the melody, and then you improv according to these chords. Okay. The song, and then you play the melody again. But then later on, it developed to this whole free improv. So you don't even have a song. You don't even have an original melody. You just go there and then you just play. And sometimes it's many people. Sometimes it's for a quartet or a quintet, 5 people, 4 people. But everyone improv together, group improv. So it's
what if your music do not harmonize? Right?
Yeah.
Maybe the person on violin, the person with the flute, they're playing different than the person on the trumpet. Playing very different from you. That's
the most beautiful part.
Really?
Yeah, because then you really have to listen. So it's very important as a musician, because sometimes you play you look in the score, but in that kind of settings, you really have to open your ears. and then allow other people.
So do you adjust?
Of course, constantly, every second, because I wouldn't play this if he didn't play that. And we have to communicate. It's like conversation. You communicate and really just there. And when the take finish, and then your conversation finish. And next time you have a new topic to talk about.
That's very interesting. Yeah. But what would be the reaction from people who are watching the recording process or who listen to the finished product for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, everyone is different. Some people, they really accept, like, they love it.
It's
they feel
improv.
like,
because
it's important for them too, kind of, because they are there, they witness, and they are part of it. In a way, they are in this recording, or they are in this live show.
All right.
So some people love it, but some people really don't like it. There would be like really, there would be like, their face will be, you can see their face, they'll be like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. Because some people like older, like you know, like nice harmony,
organized and things,
cadence, and they want to hear that in the music. So it's like personality. Some people are more organized, but some people are more spontaneous.
All right.
So
I'm curious about your recording process.
My process.
Yes, because if you do improv, you know, first it could be very time-consuming.
Yeah.
All right. And second, if you keep doing retakes, you know, there gotta be, you know, moments when you, after, you know, 10 minutes of recording, you say, oh, this is no good. I want to do it over, right? Or some other in the room with you maybe saying, oh, I don't like it either.
You see, like some people in the room, I try not to have that.
Oh, really?
So I found out, like, because it's a free piano improv.
All right.
So actually I asked the recording engineer. It was in the Yamaha Artist Center.
All right.
So they have the latest huge concert piano. So it was really beautiful. So I asked the recording engineer, Howard. So I asked him to set up everything. And then I asked him, okay, now please press record, and then please could you go outside the room?
Okay.
And then I just started. So after 3 or 4 hours in that room, I was by myself. And because it's really intimate for me. Like,
of course.
I found it
You have to
disturbing.
let go of your feelings.
Yeah, I found it disturbing if there's people around me. But everyone is different. Some people, they need that. They need someone to be there to play to. But I found, over the years, I found myself I would be more willing to show or to concentrate if I'm alone, totally alone.
All right.
So he said, are you sure? Like, so I was like, yeah, please go. And then so he left. So I was playing for 3-4 hours, and after 4 hours, I checked, okay, it's still on. So that meant I didn't do everything for nothing.
All right.
So, and then I could only to check later on, to listen how it was really like. Because when I was playing, I can't really tell. So when you were asking me, like, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't really know. I would feel like, okay, it's not I didn't put out everything yet. Maybe I do again. But I still wouldn't know. I would have to wait until it's all finished, until I hear the recording. So it's really fun for me too. Like, so what did I do there? Like, how did it sound like? And many times I would be like, wow, this is so much better than I imagined.
Really?
Yeah. Or sometimes like, oh, I really don't like it. I thought I had a good time. Like I thought I was the best. But then you hear, you're like, no, not happening.
Maybe not there yet.
Maybe not happening.
Yes. But let me ask you, how big is a following of jazz lovers who like improvisation? All right. I mean, do people? I mean, usually they will like harmony and jazz tunes and things. How big of an audience that you have who like your form, the improv?
My music, I don't know, because I still try in concert. I still try to play some songs and some improv. Not all improv. I don't think I have done that yet. Maybe next time. Good idea.
That's a goal.
Yeah. But like, if in this world, because jazz in the 60s, they already developed like this really free concept, and everyone played together. It's really chaos, but some people just enjoy it. And when I was traveling in Europe, like I was in Berlin, I found out this city, especially Berlin, almost every concert, little concert in the bar or in the basement, it's free improv. So maybe the people in Berlin, they loved it. Maybe they love it more than people in Taipei.
Okay.
But it kind of, maybe it will change.
All right.
Also.
All right.
In Taipei, I know there's also free improv festival, maybe second year already. Good. So this population is growing.
Were you a part of it? Were you part of it?
I am not yet.
Okay, you plan to be? Okay, good. And you talk about traveling to Berlin.
Yeah.
I understand that you travel to many places around the world. And do you think all the traveling that you do, does that inspire you when you create music?
Of course. Traveling is a big part in my music.
Okay.
I found out later, like now, I look back. Yeah, because like, for example, I wrote this song when I was in Amsterdam. I went through the alleys in the red light district. So it was really, you know, you see this
eye-opening experience.
Eye-opening, and then all the guys from all over the world, they're talking here, like they're looking, and they're, you know, it's really, I don't know how to describe it, so I put it in my music. That's the best way I could describe. So I wrote that, and also my friend, he went to Iceland. So he has this beautiful picture of this, how do you say, this ice on the lake, and there is this like pyramid, ice pyramid. So I thought, whoa, I would love to see that. But even just from the picture, I composed like a slow tempo ballad for that.
All right.
So I was traveling to Kashmir, and I heard some Indian music in the car. So that somehow inspired to my latest composition.
Good.
So I put this, I try to imagine if a violin play like Indian music style, like how is, I put those in my music.
All right. So when you compose an album, you could have pieces that have very distinct and very different flavors to it. Because if you draw experiences for all the traveling that you do, maybe this is more Indian, maybe this is more Oriental or you know, Chinese, maybe this is more traditional U.S. jazz. So will we be able to see a sample of all different jazz, you know, music from all over the world in your album?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, next one.
All right. And that's what you're trying to reach out through your music, to try to have as broad, you know, as big an audience as possible. Then a lot of people also say jazz is multicultural. You know, you have a little bit of, you know, culture from different parts of the world. So do you perceive jazz to be in the same way?
Yeah, when I was in New York, it's really all kinds of culture. You can experience all kinds of culture. And I found that classmates from East Europe, like Bulgarian or Romanian friends, their rhythmic concept is really strong because they're used to dance and this art meter rhythm. So I was thinking, like, what's my Taiwan like background? What's my music telling me? So I found out in this Chinese culture, Taiwan music, rhythm is not the biggest part. Yeah, and usually we have melodies that's like pentatonic.
So I understand. So maybe in the final part of today's program, we can talk about having some of the Taiwanese representation into jazz music, into your music as you compose. We've been talking about your style of music and how you compose and how you record. And we're also talking about the multicultural dimension in jazz music. And since you're, you know, a performer, you're a musician, and you're also, you know, a composer, would you think that it's possible, maybe in the future, when you compose your next album or next album, that you can incorporate more of the Taiwanese elements into jazz music? You know, as you said, you know, the rhythm in Taiwan traditional music isn't very strong, you know, very obvious. So would there be other elements that you could use from the local Taiwanese culture, maybe in the future putting your composition?
Yeah, I'm still searching for that element. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so
right.
maybe I will ask some Aboriginal friends,
okay,
like how if they have some really beautiful melodies they sing the tribes,
okay,
or maybe because like in the percussion part,
yes.
like there's gong and maybe those sound I can put in my music on
okay.
the drum set.
All right.
Yes.
But let me ask you, based on your observation in the last 6 years, how big is the market for jazz lovers in Taiwan? Are we talking about maybe, for example, in 10 music lovers, what's the percentage, for jazz lovers? Maybe 1 in 10, 2 in 10?
Maybe 1.
1 in 10. And so what are the prospects for jazz music to really become more accepted and more popular in Taiwan? I mean, in addition to good efforts and great music, by musicians like yourself.
Thank you.
But what would be some other things that you think can make jazz more popular, more accepted in Taiwan?
I would say it's already much better than 10, 15 years ago. Like when I was firstly exposed to this music. Nowadays the resources are so much more.
Yes.
Of course now we have internet. But back then we don't have that much.
Okay.
So also now in the school we have jazz programs, like in the classical music department. But at least we have a program we teach jazz courses, combo, private lessons, big band, so or history or theory. So that's something. When I was studying, that's something that I didn't have in Taiwan. Okay. But now we have. Okay. And also the festivals, like Taichung Jazz Festival, it's been 10, 12 years, or 13, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So those 10 years, there's many people listen to jazz, Taichung, or Taipei, Taipei Jazz Festival, or all kinds of jazz festivals in Taiwan. So I would say there's more
awareness?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But sadly, like the CD store, I think they're still closing down.
Yes.
So CD is a big part of the resources that you learn jazz from. Okay. Because you learn from the masters, from their playing. It's like learning language.
Their performance, yes.
You have to listen to the old people, how they play, and then you imitate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So. And for the final part of the program, we're going to come back. Our discussion, our focus, will come back to the most important subject, which is you. Okay. Okay. We're going to talk, ask you that Ms. Hsu, that you grew up learning classical music, and then later on, because your own initiative and your exposure subsequently to jazz music, that you have developed a career in jazz music in Taiwan, which is still very early stage for many musicians. So let me ask you, based on your experience in the last 15, 20 years, what is your view about the overall environment in Taiwan for music education? All right, are we having enough of fertile soil, shall we say, for the musical seeds to take really take roots in Taiwan, for more young students who are exposed to classical music, to popular music, to jazz music, to really have the opportunity to learn more about the music without the pressure from school, from peers, or even from parents? What do you think?
The music environment?
Yes.
In general? I think it's pretty good. like
really?
the students I have in school.
Okay.
Yeah, because they really love jazz, so they came to this program.
Okay.
So everyone is eager to learn. And because we're still on an early stage of jazz music education, so I feel like and then we're kind of like first or second generation to come back from abroad. So I try to give them as much as I learned back in New York. Hopefully they could get so much, and then maybe if they are interested, they can go abroad to study later on.
Right.
Because still, if in New York it's so much big size.
Yes, of course.
Bigger size of this jazz music.
All right.
So still, I would encourage them to go abroad if there's a chance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe based on your experience and also other people's experiences that I know,
Yeah.
The role of the parents are very important in terms of supporting, their child or children to pursue a career in music. So, do you think the role of the parents is changed today, or are there, parents that are equally supportive for their kids to pursue a career in music? Or are there more and more parents saying that, hey, music is not a career choice. You cannot make a living off music. And what is your feeling about this? Do you think Taiwan's, parents are also changing?
Yeah, I've encountered both, actually. I would still say everyone is different.
Right.
I've encountered even the kid, not really kid, like already third year in high school or a freshman in college, or even, So still, their parent, like the mom, contact me to arrange lessons or to ask me like, oh, what can he do if he learned this music? Like what's his career, what his career can be, and and so some parents, they're still worried, and of course I just try. I can only share my own experience because everyone is different and you meet different people. So, but also I met kids that their parents are fully supportive. Yeah, like they are saying, oh, okay, you're studying classical, but if you like jazz, go for it. Yeah, that kind of open-minded. Yeah, so both, I've encountered both.
All right. Would you think when a child is learning music at a very early, age, would there need to be some parental supervision, or even maybe sometimes, even some pressure from the parents for them to practice, for them to, really try to master the pieces that were taught by their teachers? What do you think?
I think, doesn't matter what genre you chose later on, like classical, jazz, or even pop music. But the most important thing is that actually you can control your instrument. That's the most important. If I play piano, I better play it well. Like, otherwise I can't express freely. Even if I have to think which finger to use, there's no way I could put more feelings or emotions in piano.
Of course.
So if you're a trumpet player, you better exercise every day or play long tone like
make
every
sure
day.
your lungs are strong enough.
So master your instrument is the most fundamental, very first thing before you can talk about anything else. So I would say when you are learning when you're a kid, it's better you follow your instructor, your teacher. And if your parent can help you with more organized lifestyle or way, then schedule, listen to them.
All right. We're now approaching the end of 2016. Let me ask you, Ms. Hsu, what are your plans for the new year, for 2017? Will we be expecting a new album from you, or are you going to have more performances around Taiwan? What would they be?
Yeah, hopefully I will have a new album, hopefully. Yeah, because it's been a while since last. So I'm ready for a new one. And hopefully to play also abroad more, or Taiwan more.
Okay. What would be the next level of challenge that you put on yourself? Because you're now already a teacher, a performer, a composer,
Yes.
And then you travel quite a bit. You are networking with all the leading musicians around the world. Yeah. What would be the next challenge that you want to, put on yourself? I mean, would you like to, for example, perform at the bigger stadium?
Of course.
Have people more accepting to your music? Yeah. What would be the things that you're looking for in the future?
I think definitely try to play with all the great musicians better than me. That's even better,
because probably not many.
Oh, there's so much, so many.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can really learn from, because jazz guys, they always say the real school, there's no jazz school. The real school is on stage.
Okay.
You learn from every stage you play, and then you grab the chance to learn from the masters. Okay. So of course I would like to collaborate with more great people.
Okay.
And actually, now I just think, next year I want to write a book if it's possible.
Good.
I want to write like all the theories of harmony I learned.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to write a book. Hopefully it can help
You're
Taiwanese
multi-talented, yes.
Yeah, I am, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I hope they can get more knowledge. Yeah.
Well, it's truly been a pleasure to have you on the program today, Ms. Hsu. I want to wish you all the best in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you.